Hi, it's Faceless Tech. You know, sometimes when you realise that you have an obsession, well, I have an obsession with building breathalyzers. In the past, I built this, which is my first standalone one, quite a while ago. Then I made this electropet, which was something that I made based on Circuit Beard. He had something similar, but I thought I'd try and do something similar. I had a hat that I added onto it to make it into a breathalyzer. And then I made the Raspberry Pi Zero boot system, and I made a breathalyzer to go on that. And then now we have this one, which is another take on it. Basically, I wanted one that you could take with you on a night out to a beer festival, something that you could put in your pocket that would kind of be small, but it ended up not being that small even compared to this. It's not that much smaller. Kind of had the idea of using a power bank as the power source from this project, which was the glow stick one, and then I made a torch for work similar to this where it kind of clipped on. I haven't got it because it's at work. Similar design like this but a bit smaller. Basically what it is a male USB port trapped. This is what I've got as a thing, trapped between two bits, so that the port is trapped there. The leads just come round through. Built using the Tiny 85 as the chip on it, which I kind of started out using a Arduino Pro Mini because I didn't need a USB interface. And then as I was laying it out, I was like, wait a minute, couldn't this be used at Tiny 85? So I dug the pins out, checked it on a breadboard, it worked fine. So I just went ahead, did the board, which made it just small enough, literally with the board and the sensor. It literally was just the same length as the power bank, which is quite good. Also, with having the power bank, you don't have to worry about any electronic side of that. You just have to have the USB port, and that's it. There you go. The annoying thing was about this project, because of the pins I used, I couldn't actually program it. Normally I have like a clip, one of these SOP 8 clips that clip around the chip. But also whilst I was programming it and testing the code out, I was using one of these USB Tiny, which I don't think was giving enough current to the MQ-S sensor. So when I actually did put this all together, I had the power lines basically come round and they just went straight into the, not through the chip, straight into the sensor. So it kind of worked properly. So I had to recalibrate it, but to do that I had to take the chip, desolder the chip off, solder it onto one of these boards I'd made, program the code to spit out the sensor onto this, put that back on the board, check out the different ranges to get the new calibration, desolder it, solder it back onto this, program it back with all the changes, and then solder it back there, and then hope and pray that it worked, and it did. What I've done is, like with my other projects, I've had, you basically turn it on, turn the power bank on, and it's got a switch, a little splash screen, and then it'll start counting up. It takes 1.5 minutes, because that's what I found, for the sensor to warm up, and then for the regions to come down and settle down. But what I did do is, say you were just demonstrating it to someone, and then someone's like, can I have a go? And you've just turned it off. And then you have to turn it back on. You don't want to wait 1.5 minutes. So what I've done is I did in this splash screen, if you press the button, it basically skips all that, calibrates it, and then does it all. So you can just do it straight into it. Obviously, if I blow it now, it won't. It'll come up with a random reading because it doesn't have time to warm up. But that's it really. There's a 3D printed case made in 3 parts. You've got the top bit here, which holds the USB port. Then there's the main body. I went through quite a few iterations with this. The first one I did was just this faceplate. It was dead thin, just to see the hole sizes for where everything was roughly going to go. Because that took 20 minutes. These took 1 hour and 20 minutes to print. So, you know, if it's a top tip, if you want to just print a middle thick, just literally for the spacings, I had a few iterations. It wasn't quite printing right because it was quite a long, thin print. My bed on my 3D printer isn't quite flat, so it, as you can see, it was quite nasty. But this one, I just slammed it right into the board and it printed perfectly, really. And then there's this end piece which also clips around the power bank, keeps it in place, and it also does the tube, because I've noticed when you do give it to people, they kind of like pick it up and they blow, put the lips around that, and you're like, no, it's supposed to like passively pass across it. Also, as well, if you did blow onto it like this one, there's chance of your breath going into the board, and with condensation and whatnot, it'll just build up in there. But with this going over the top, it should eliminate it, or at least not be as bad. But yeah, as usual, blog post in the description with maybe a bit more details. I'm going to give away the design files. There was in FreeCAD. I'm going to give the STL files, everything, as usual. If you want to build your own, ask any questions if you want. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.